President Joe Biden expected to land in Tel Aviv in just a matter of hours. Good evening, everyone. I'm Mike Meebeck.
And I'm Julie Hayner. The president's historic visit already seeing some diplomatic challenges. Right before takeoff, his meeting in Jordan with Arab leaders was canceled following a deadly airstrike of a Gaza hospital. KTVU's Jana Katsuyama joins us now. And Jana, hundreds were killed in that strike.
Yes, and there is some discussion and some controversy over whether that was an Israeli airstrike or, as Israel says, a misfire by an Islamic Jihad group that is competing with Hamas in Gaza. Meantime, President Biden is on his way, as you said, to that area. The explosion today at a Gaza City hospital has dramatically changed his efforts to push diplomatic solutions forward. Palestinian civilians bleeding and desperately needing medical care were rushed to the Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza City Tuesday after another hospital in Gaza was hit by a massive explosion. The Palestinian Health Ministry says as many as 500 people at the hospital were killed, many who were being treated or seeking shelter from the violence of the war. The blast sent political shockwaves beyond Gaza's borders. Hamas claimed it was an Israeli airstrike, and Palestinians in Ramallah, West Bank, filled the streets, outraged. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas called for 3 days of mourning. But Israeli officials said they do not target hospitals, and late Tuesday, the Israeli Defense Forces blamed another militant group in Gaza.
Intelligence from few sources that we have in our hands indicates that the Islamic Jihad is responsible for the failed rocket launch which hit the hospital in Gaza.
The blast threatens to derail President Biden's high-stakes trip into the war zone. As Air Force One departed for Israel Tuesday afternoon, the White House said Biden's summit in Jordan with Arab leaders Abbas, Jordan's King Abdullah, and Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi had been canceled, a critical part of the trip for diplomacy.
King Abdullah is maybe among most important because he is, in relative terms, the most cooperative of all the Arab leaders, the most supportive of a two-state solution, the most supportive of peace between Israel and the Arab states. If he is not able to meet with Biden either, it just shows you how much the bombing of the hospital has riled up the population there.
Michael Nacht, a former assistant defense secretary and professor emeritus at UC Berkeley, says missing talks with Egypt also is critical, as it has the only route for getting humanitarian aid into Gaza.
Egypt wants tight control over who is admitted to their country and doesn't have great love for the Palestinians anyway, and has had very limited support for the Palestinians over the decades.
As for the situation with the hostages, Professor Knox says some behind-the-scenes diplomacy, perhaps with the country of Qatar, is also a likely possibility as the U.S. and Israel try to get those hundreds of hostages, including Americans, that are being held by Hamas, safely home.
Jana Katsuyama reporting live tonight. Jana, thank you.